What's good, people? Episode 52 of the Victory and Vices podcast. The pod gods are back. Me, Ruairi Spooner, and we got the muscle with the hustle. James Veck back again. That's the first. Definitely isn't the last. All right. Okay. Where do we start?
There is only one place to start because I would like to get out of the way, please.
Okay, we'll get it out of the way. A lot of people, if you're just tuning into this, if this is your first ever experience of us, this is a very neutral platform. With VMP, what we do is we take the Premier League games and whatever's happening in general straight down the middle. Good, bad, ugly, doesn't matter. We're very honest with our opinions, right? We generally don't have affiliations when it comes to telling the truth. But this is going to be a tough segment, right? And we'll start with Manchester United because we are both United fans. And I don't know what to say. Where do you want to start, bro?
So I feel like whilst our opinion on this segment do align at points, I do also feel like we do have our differences.
Oh, they differ.
Well,
they
right?
differ drastically.
So
very. Do you know, right? Just our WhatsApp conversation the other day, I was like, we're on two different wavelengths about this completely.
You seem to be frequently using an emoji now, quite often. You know, it's the straight concerned face.
Yeah.
You know, and you've got to the point where you've just said you're lost for words.
Yeah.
You don't know what to say, so you just send that emoji that goes.
I'll try and put that emoji in the video.
You know the one to put up, right? The one that's like, I honestly have nothing to say to you.
I don't know what to say anymore.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but just to summarise our kind of differences. So we're both pretty fucked off with this situation as a whole and have been for quite some time, right? That's fair to say.
We're talking like 7 years now, at least.
But, you know, obviously we, as United fans, kind of prepared ourselves for at least a couple of years, right? Where things may not have...
Yeah, look, I was willing to give it time, yeah.
And all we wanted, if we weren't going to be winning trophies straight away, was the effort, the commitment, everything that was we saw under Ferguson to still be there, right?
Some desire, yeah.
Yeah. So where I think we aren't quite on the same page at the moment, though, is...
Oh, mate. This is so painful.
I feel like you have completely just lost belief.
I've lost the plot, bro.
You've lost everything.
I genuinely... I said I will start... If United keep playing the way they do... This will become a cooking podcast. We will literally just start a YouTube channel and we will go around like diners, drive-ins and dives, and I will go to every fucking restaurant and film myself eat because I cannot cope with this anymore.
I mean, I'm game for that.
We may have to do that just as a side hustle, but this is so bad.
It is.
It's so bad.
Yeah, and it's bad to the point where I actually saw this result coming. No,
I didn't want to believe it.
I said to a couple of my colleagues in work, there's 1 or 2 United fans, and I said, we won't lose to Arsenal, but we'll lose to Newcastle. So I can just see it. And we weren't great against Arsenal at all. The first half we were okay. But I just said, that United Arsenal record at Old Trafford, we don't tend to lose to them. I just thought, we'll do okay against these. But a game where everyone thinks we're going to win, it's just a banana skin. Newcastle they'll do us. And they did. And it wasn't even just luck or whatever. They were just the best team on the park by a mile.
Bro, the Longstaff brothers battered them all over the park.
Can I just say that I went out of the room for about 10 minutes and I came back and I saw M. Longstaff and I thought, that's weird. I thought, like, there's only one Longstaff.
Yeah, no, there's 2 for the price of 1, bro.
And I was like, this is how unknown this guy is. I thought, Sean Longstaff, that must be his middle name. Maybe his first name's like Mike.
Yeah.
But it's not. It was actually just another Longstaff. How old is he? 19?
He's about
19?
12, I think, yeah.
And you would have thought he was Paul Scholes.
Bro, he had a very good game.
I'm actually, right, as a neutral, even as a United fan, I'm actually really happy for him.
Do you know what? When I saw his interview after the game, him and his brother conducted themselves so well. Mm-hmm. They were so well-mannered as, shall we say, an elder statesman now. Slightly elder. I just remember thinking, fuck, what a nice kid, like, do you mean? And I was generally, and as much as I hated the United loss, I was kind of pleased for him. I was like, yeah, well in, son, you earned that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I 100% agree, and they were bursting with pride. You could see, like, they were proud, and they knew that their family would be so proud of them.
Yeah.
You couldn't stop smiling. You knew it was genuine, and they're just 2 local lads who are so happy to be playing for the club that they love, right? Which is kind of a segue into what's not happening at United, which is seemingly the players that we have. Yes, we've got youth, lots of it, right? And that is Solskjaer's only real get-out card at the moment, yeah?
I'm so depressed even talking about this right now. You know that, don't you?
Yeah, so I can feel it, right? I can sense the vibes in the room. For those who haven't maybe picked up on camera yet, since I got here, I could feel it then. I can feel it now.
Bro, I've been a downer all weekend.
And it's gonna continue throughout this episode. It's such a tough one, right? Because I can't dig them. I'm not gonna bail them out. The one thing I will say is that the squad of players that we started the season with wasn't good enough from the get-go, right?
Yeah.
And
that we'll agree on, yeah.
And there were many people saying that the squad isn't good enough for a top 4 place to start the season.
Yeah.
Now Reece, who a lot of you guys will know, and other people will say, oh, but you spent X amount of million, X amount of 100 million in years. I get that, right? We spent a lot of money, but we haven't spent it well.
No.
95% of the time. You know, you could argue that maybe at the time when we bought Matic, maybe that was okay money then.
Yeah.
But we've primarily wasted money. A lot of people would say what we've got for the money we've spent versus like your Liverpool's, your Cities is not comparable.
That's a fact.
Wan-Bissaka, obviously Maguire, them two, they're more promising signings, right?
Okay.
Wan-Bissaka's obviously injured. Okay. Now, it was the team that we beat Chelsea with 4-0. 6 of those weren't even on the pitch against Newcastle. So you couldn't foresee the injuries that we were going to have. I will point that out. And people will say, oh, you still got this much amount of millions on the pitch. Yeah, but they're shit, right? The amount how much they cost, they're shit. A lot of those players. You compare them to other teams in the league, they don't look at our team sheet anymore and get scared. There's not one player on that pitch. Maybe Dan James in a 100-metre sprint. They don't look.
Last time I mentioned Dan James, people went in on me. I had people coming up to me in public telling me I was.
But it's like I rate his ability, but we don't play an expansive enough style of football for him to even do anything anyway. If someone like him, you need to give him the ball in space. You need to give it to him quick, right? So he can try and open.
That is a valid point.
So you can try and open up his legs. There's no point giving the ball to Dan James when the whole back four is intact. And they've got 8, 9, 10 men behind the ball. You can't expect someone from someone so young. The point I'm making is that the team was shit to start of the season.
Yeah,
it was improved marginally defensively, but midfield nothing.
Yeah,
and then they sold Sanchez and Lukaku, which looking back seems terrible now. But then, like I said to you the other day, you take a team's 2 best strikers that they have, any team in the league, and they'll struggle.
Yeah, that's a fact.
So it's just a complete recipe for disaster at the moment. And when Solskjaer says, we're in a bad moment, or it's a bad period, you damn fucking straight it is. It's a terrible period. And it ain't going to get better, is it?
But I don't see how it gets better. Right? Me and Vecky, next week is the international break. And we were going to do it a while back, but other things have come up. We've done other episodes which have gone on to be very successful, and we've other topics that sort of came about a bit before this. But this has kind of reached peak shithousery now, where we can't let it go anymore. So we will do a United special next week during the international break. There'll be a full episode dedicated to it. There will be fireworks. Dynamite is about to go off. I will save the large majority of what I've got to say for that, right? Because I don't want to go in on it too much, because
go on.
I'll be here for days, right?
Yeah, and I can certainly elaborate further.
And so what I will say to you though is, and an interesting question that's come up on Twitter, right? And it's featured predominantly amongst a lot of fans actually who are quite realistic. There's a lot of people I follow on Twitter, United-wise, that are very sensible. And they don't sort of jump the gun. It's never really knee-jerk with them. They asked a really interesting question, right? And I wanted your opinion, because you tend to elaborate on stuff like this quite well. Mm-hmm. Could United get relegated this season?
No. No, they couldn't.
People out there, let us know your opinions. Let us know.
Well, and the situation is exacerbated at the moment because they sit, 2 points above the relegation zone?
It's something like that, give or take. Yeah, the table will have come up by now. If not at this point, we'll have had the fixtures and the table come up for you, so it should be there.
I understand that it seems like a potentially logical scenario right now, even if just slightly. And miracles do happen, right? Leicester won the Premier League, right?
Yeah,
but no. There is too much quality.
If that happens, we cut back to this episode.
Yeah, and
you will never live it down, ever.
And I put that on record.
Fucking hell.
although they are shit, and when I say that, what I'm referring to is that for the money they've spent, the return of players that they've got is not top 4, and it's at the moment it's looking like it's not even potentially top 6 quality, right?
Yeah.
But it's not relegation poor.
Yeah.
Luckily for us, because I actually saw someone, I don't know who it was or who's shared it to my fucking Facebook timeline, but the Manchester United relegation party, May 10th, came up on my feed.
I haven't had that yet.
And I thought, should I attend it?
Bro, do you know what, right? The internet's such a savage place. The fact that someone has took the time to come up with that and is so sharp, right, tells me you can't beat the internet.
No, the internet will remain undefeated.
It will remain
forever.
undefeated. For eternity, you can't beat the
Yeah.
internet. That's wild.
But I am going to put to one side, put in a little box, my United negativity for one moment, and I'm going to praise Newcastle.
Yeah, good on
I'm
you.
going to praise Steve Bruce.
Reece is fuming somewhere. He's 3 points and he is raging. He's thinking, fuck Steve Bruce.
I actually owe Reece a pint because me and Reece, right, I summarise this quickly, since we were old enough to drink, maybe not quite old enough to drink also, had this, and for years, right, it was such a brilliant deal for me. I might have told you.
Yeah, you did actually.
So whatever the aggregate score over the 2 games in the season, sometimes in cups, would be the amount of beers that you'd have to buy the
other person. Yeah.
And through the Ronaldo ages and the Rooney's and the Tevez, he is
The glory days.
the glory days. There were seasons he was buying me 5, 6, 7 pints.
You were
right?
pissed as fuck
if
constantly.
not more. And even the last couple of seasons, he still bought me a couple, but I just knew I was buying him one. I just knew I was going to end up buying him one. So when he comes home, Reece, I owe you a pint. So I hope it's nice. I'm going to buy him a piece of shit pint as well.
Yeah.
Like a Carlin or a Carlsberg.
Something crap. Yeah, definitely. Don't get him something nice.
No, not at all. You don't deserve that. But Newcastle, they were fantastic. The 2 Longstaff brothers were great in the middle of the park. Defensively, they were sound. I quite like that St. Maxim as well. Is it Alan St. Maxim?
Yeah, is he the dude with the Gucci headband?
Yeah, he's a bit raw.
Fly motherfucker though,
But he's
isn't he?
quick. And he's got some good feet.
Bro,
so
if you can wear a Gucci headband,
I couldn't pull a Gucci headband.
I don't think I could either. Or maybe I could. But
yeah,
I'm like 3% black. I know,
But,
but still.
A big shout out to Newcastle. That was a huge 3 points for them. Steve Bruce seems to do it against some big sides. He did against Spurs last, didn't he?
Let big sides. We aren't putting United in that bracket right now. I'm sorry. They're not. You're not a big club if you behave like that.
That's true. Very true.
Against average sides.
But a big well done to Newcastle. A huge 3 points.
And again, as you said, shout out to the Longstaff brothers. Round of applause for you guys because you were superb. You were really good. Okay, right. We'll segue nicely into Chelsea because Chelsea are a big talking point on the weekend. Went away from home. It wasn't necessarily the most difficult game.
No.
But they came through it and they looked good. Now, I said in one of our earlier videos, probably the first one actually of the season, I said, draw a line under that United result against Chelsea. It doesn't mean anything. When Chelsea get back their players, they have a better blend of youth and experience than Manchester United do. The Chelsea midfielders are far more equipped to go forward and defend than the United ones are. They're creating an awful lot of chances and also taking them themselves. Mason Mount, next Frank Lampard, I called that also. I wanted to ask you the question, right? Because Chelsea's youngsters, I'm not going to include Loftus-Cheek because he's kind of out of that bracket now. But you have Abraham, you have Mount, you have Hudson-Odoi. What is the difference between those youngsters and the youngsters United have right now?
Well, firstly, you've already touched upon the experience that's around them.
Yeah, that is factual. Yeah, that's true.
That matters a lot. And Guy Neville said quite recently that the notion that you don't win anything with kids.
It's true.
And somebody pointed out that United won titles with Neville's Giggs, Scholes, Beckham, and he was very quick to point out that no, we didn't. It wasn't us that just won that title.
It's a great blend of the two.
We wouldn't have won it now with this. If we went into this United squad, we wouldn't win the title.
I'd agree with that 100%.
We had Pallister, Bruce, we had Cantona, we had Keane.
Yeah. And
it was those players of that sort of experience and quality which blended the youth together, and they were role models, right? And I just think the surrounding at the moment at Chelsea, surrounding these youngsters, is better than what we have, by a distance as well.
Would you say those Chelsea youngsters have more quality than the United ones?
I mean, it's hard to say, not necessarily.
Well, if we go man for man initially,
you look at like Abraham versus Mason Greenwood. Or do you not compare those two off?
No. That's an excellent starting point. Again, everybody at home, let us know your opinion on the comparisons and who you think is better too.
The obvious answer would be to say Tammy Abraham, because obviously he's played a lot more Premier League games,
significantly more developed,
and scored more goals. At the moment, what puzzles me is Marcus Rashford is not firing at all.
I know exactly why that is, bro.
He's in and out of injuries.
Rashford has been injured so much, and I know for a fact last season especially he played through an injury. He is mentally drained. I'm not going to get into this too much, right? Yeah. Because Solskjaer fucked up with this, and we'll come into it next week, right? Rashford is class. He gets slated on Twitter. He is fucking superb for someone his age. The amount of goals he scored. Mm-hmm. He's developed. Mason Greenwood could be a very good player when he's not Snapchatting himself trying to, do certain things with his teammates, right? We'll come to that another day. Mason Greenwood is very underdeveloped. He's a kid, right?
Yeah.
And Tammy Abraham has had at least 2 or 3 seasons now. He's been with Villa, he's been with Swansea, he's been with Bristol City, I believe.
Yeah.
He's scored goals at those levels. He's played against grown men. He's a big guy as well, physically. He's got that experience. He's now ready for that step up. So if you're asking Abraham or Greenwood, you go Abraham, right, mm-hmm. straight away. Now, if you're going Mason Mount versus McTominay, now I know they're 2 slightly different midfielders, but in terms of what they offer, Mason Mount had a very good season in the Championship with Derby, where he was playing in a confident side, constantly winning. McTominay has been in and out of that United side, and they've been utter piss. Yeah. McTominay, what should happen is McTominay should either be a squad player at Manchester United, or he should be out on loan with someone developing the way Mason Mount did. So would you pick McTominay or Mount if you had a choice today? You pick Mount.
What about maybe like Tomori versus Twanzebe?
About to bring that up. Excellent segue. Now that wasn't rehearsed. No, that is a little more difficult in a sense that Tomori is a very good player. I don't see a lot of difference between him and Axel right now. In fairness, Tomori is probably the form player ahead of Axel. So if you had to pick one on form right now, it would be Tomori. But truthfully, I couldn't separate the two.
Yeah. So there are similarities, right? And it's hard because if you envisage the environments being flipped, right? Mm. And you've got then Twanzebe, you've got, is it Taith Chong or Tai Chong?
Yeah, Taith Chong, yeah.
Greenwood, Angel Gomez, Dan James, obviously, he's not from our youth system, but a young player, Scotty McSauce. If they were in an environment like the one with Frank Lampard at Chelsea now, or, in another environment, would they thrive better? Probably.
I don't think they would, and do you know why? They're all incredibly underdeveloped. What Manchester United are playing with is a youth side, and I have to question the ability of some of those youth players. And again, I'll come to it next week.
Yeah,
but
I was going to say, I'm not going to we
won't get into it in too much depth now. But last comparison I want to make very quickly. I give you a choice. I say you can have Dan James or Hudson-Odoi. Who would you take?
One now?
Yeah.
Dan James.
Hudson-Odoi every time.
Hudson-Odoi's just come back from quite a serious injury as well.
But even at a younger, I think, he's significantly more talented than Dan James, and that's no disrespect to Dan James. Hudson-Odoi is just one of the best talents of his generation, and again, I think he's a bit more, he's further down the line in terms of his development.
For me, Hudson-Odoi, I just think it's all a question of potential at the moment, and I haven't seen enough of it.
I'd argue the same with Dan James. I mean, Dan James, bear in mind, played against Alkmaar in the week. He didn't have a shot on target. He played against Newcastle. Now, I know you say Dan James hasn't been getting enough of the ball, and that's all fair and true, but he's still got to make things happen, and he's looked a little out of his depth at that level thus far.
I mean, there's a lot of people, myself included, who would say that he's actually been United's best player and only player that's creating and scoring goals.
And again, I wouldn't disagree with that, but he's been the best of a really bad bunch.
I mean, sometimes when things are that bad, that's all you can be.
That's true, and you can only beat what's in front of you. He's not, but again, me personally, I like Hudson-Odoi. I've made that very clear in the past. I think he's a great player.
This is fair.
But we won't get too much into it. Again, Chelsea looking good. What are we saying? Top 4?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, the season obviously isn't going like I thought it would at the moment, because there's a couple of teams that are so inconsistent. Obviously, United, Arsenal, Spurs. I thought Chelsea would be one of those, but they seem to be picking up a little bit of momentum now.
Bro, they're clicking. The jigsaw is kind of fitting into place.
They've still got vulnerabilities, right?
Oh yeah, especially in defence. Mm-hmm. Especially, yeah.
And we can see that, and they will get turned over a good few times this season. But we mentioned about their youth. Their youth is looking excellent so far.
Look very good.
Williams obviously seems to be coming back into form. Kante, he's come back. He's looking as good as ever. So I think Chelsea have got as good a shout as any. For the
they got depth. I mean, you look at the squad, right? You got Pulisic, you got Kovacic, you got Barkley. Who else? Loftus-Cheek. I know it's not Batshuayi.
Kovacic,
Giroud. I mean, yeah. Look, I mean I think it's a better blend than the United side, and it's a good look for Chelsea right now. I know there's shout out Luke Stamford follows us, doesn't he? Shout out to Luke as well, man.
Did you know that's not his surname?
Well, Stamford.
Yeah.
Is it not? It's just a Twitter handle.
Yeah, because he's a big Chelsea fan.
Oh shit, the Stamford Bridge. My bad, bro.
You ain't the first one to make that mistake.
My bad. Generally thought I was his surname.
Oh, it's Luke Edwards.
Shout out to Luke, man, because I know he follows us and he ranks us. And he's a big Chelsea fan as well.
He just likes to change his name on platforms to keep people guessing, and maybe get away from us.
I got you. I got you. Okay.
But yeah, he is a big Chelsea fan, so he is obviously happy the way things are going at the moment.
Looking good, bro.
And you can't blame him.
No, cool.
So,
all right, we'll segue into another, what I would have called a top 4 club. But the shit has hit the fan. Big time. Pochettino. Oh, bro. Now, Pochettino has come out after the Colchester game, and he said something that was very telling, and we may have brought it up on this podcast previously, but again, any Spurs fans watching, let us know. I'm very interested in your opinions. Pochettino said, these players and I have different agendas, and these players to a degree have their own agendas. Now, what I wanted to ask you was, because again, you elaborate on this very well, what do you think he meant when he said that we have different agendas?
Interesting question, that is.
I bring the interesting questions.
I get the impression that he's saying, or he thinks that their mentalities are different now.
To a degree, I think what he meant by that is some of them now are very self-serving, in a sense that they kind of they're not on the same wavelength as Poch, because Poch could have moved to Real Madrid, he could have moved to Manchester United. But he said, you know what, I'm sticking it out in the long run and I want to make this a success, which is very admirable, right? So, it's an honest trait in a person that you can tell he's very loyal. He's not disrespectful like that. When you have someone like Christian Eriksen, who he looked for a move all summer, right? Alderweireld, it might be in his last year of his contract. I don't think he actually extended, did he? So he's not committed his future.
Yeah.
Danny Rose was looking for a move away. And he's bringing in players like Ndombele and Lo Celso, and he's thinking, right, I can really build something. And those players are kind of looking at Spurs now and going, well, we kind of want to do our own thing now. We feel like this team has peaked a little bit.
I just want to say that same word. Perhaps they now have the mentality that maybe
they can't
this
go
is
any
as far
further.
As
Yeah,
go.
I think that's what he meant by that statement. They have their own agendas.
And because I'm going to say a few negative things about them in a moment, we all know how far Spurs have come, right? And they've done everything right, but the only thing that they should have done and haven't done is win a trophy, right?
Yeah.
And I don't care what anybody says, they have, over the last 2 or 3 years, had a good enough team to win a trophy, right? And they've been in positions where they could and should have.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda, yeah, exactly. Definitely, yeah.
And they've come close on multiple occasions, none closer than last season, the Champions League final, which would have been the biggest of them all, right?
That's the big
what
fish
a weight that would have been for, right?
That would have been difficult for most clubs to top.
Yeah. But ultimately they fell short.
They did.
Like I'm sorry to say it, like they always tend to do, right?
Hashtag Spursy.
Spursy. And maybe it's just the mentality of the players is changing slightly, but I just think maybe we have peaked.
That was a really interesting comment by him, because after that Colchester game where they lost, where realistically a side of that quality with Spurs should be putting them away. Even if you just scrape by, you get the job done. You've got that winning mentality. And he came out and he said, we have different agendas. And I remember thinking to myself, what does he mean by that? Because ultimately now, most managers will go out of their way to protect their players, but he really dug them out. And then there was talk in the paper for Spurs players going, well, he has his own agenda. How much longer is he going to be here? And that to a degree is true, because ultimately nothing lasts forever. A discussion we had earlier on today, ironically. And Poch isn't going to be around forever, so they're probably thinking, well, why should we be around forever?
he would only be, he's only human, right? So it would only be normal for him to maybe start thinking, right, things are starting to go quite bad for me at this club, right? I have a great reputation. If things carry on this way and I get sacked,
his reputation sours, and
the jobs like Madrid and United, if he stays and ends up having like a terrible season, his stock will reduce a little bit, right?
It has to, yeah.
I can't help but look at Spurs at the moment, and I'm like, even City, Liverpool, right? From time to time, when United was good as they were, Chelsea was good as they were over the years, they had bad results, right?
Yeah.
Sandwiched in between. And they'd have bad performances, but they would bounce back straight away. Spurs seem to be in a really bad spell. It's not just a game. They lost 7-2.
It looks more than that now, doesn't it? Yeah.
And I don't like to say I'm not saying he's lost the dressing room quite.
Bayern, Brighton, Colchester, yeah.
But there's a pattern emerging here now of consistently bad performances. Not just lack of quality, lack of effort, lack of desire, lack of everything, right? And it doesn't look like it's going to get much better. Brighton, that's not a smash and grab 3-0.
No, not at all.
That was a walkover.
Yeah.
They were good value.
And that was the worst part about it.
They were good value for 5 or 6. I remember watching the game and just thinking to myself, you would swear that Man City run this pitch. And not the Man City this weekend, as we'll come on to, but in general, right? Or Liverpool, because it was that one-sided. But I spoke to Chris Evans.
Shout out to Ed as well,
Shout out to Ed. As you know, big Spurs fan. He doesn't want Poch there anymore. He hasn't wanted.
Interesting, really.
He actually told me that he would like to see Jose at Spurs.
Really, I think Jose's next job is Madrid. That's my opinion. Anyway,
Jose, you'd never know what move he's going to make. He could go anywhere, right?
Yeah.
So you got Ed, obviously a diehard Spurs fan, loves Pochettino, as you know.
Wants him gone.
He doesn't believe, or doesn't seem to believe in what he's doing and their agendas going forward.
Well, do you know what, right? We'll segue into this very quickly, because there's a question I want to ask you just before we go to the interval. Harry Kane. His ambition has been questioned by, I think it was Rio Ferdinand and a few others. Is this his final Spurs season?
Possibly.
Do you think he should go?
Yeah, I do. Because I see this whole Spurs, I don't know what to call it, this thing that they had going on, this project, this resurgence.
Well, project, which is now a meltdown.
Yeah, exactly. I see it coming to an end, and it looks like it's reached its peak. And your Ericssons, your Kanes, obviously Ali's already gone off the boil.
Oh, bro, Ali! Ever since he got pissed in the summer, right, and he got slaughtered for it. I don't know if his confidence has gone, but that sort of public attack on him that he hasn't been the same since, bro.
Nope.
Fucking hell.
Your Ericssons, your Kanes, if this starts tumbling down a little bit, change of manager, a few players leave, I mean, he's going to be one of the ones out.
Yeah.
If he wants to make.
But he's 26, so he has, as a top level striker, let's say the best part of 6 or 7 years left.
He's got one huge move.
He has a massive contract in him, like potentially the way Daniel Levy negotiates a world record deal. I'll throw it out there now because he is that good a goal scorer.
He's superb.
But we'll leave Spurs for now. Quick interval. Add us up on the social media platforms. We'll be back with the best of the rest. Stay tuned. We back. B&B Podcast episode 52. Alright, so we've been over the large majority of the talking points this weekend thus far.
Yes.
There's a few others we want to go over too, because that's what we do. We bring you all the news and the views. Now, VAR, or VAR, depending on how you want to pronounce it. I don't know how most people like to pronounce it in this day and age. Okay, we'll start with Mane. Now, I think there's a penalty, right, first and foremost. Now, we may differ on that slightly, but I feel like he over-egged that put-in. Like, there was, shall we say, a delay. And Liverpool, I mean, all signs point to Liverpool winning this league, from Laporte getting out injured, to City being brutally terrible at times, to Mane getting the penalty, to various other things. Sometimes the stars align, as we talked. I wanted your opinion though on Mane, right? Do you think that was a penalty?
No.
I knew we would differ on this. I knew.
But I will say that a part of me understands why they have awarded it.
Yeah.
The penalty rules are so fluffy, as in terms of...
There's contact though, right? Is that a fair shout? Yeah.
There is contact. you can't say there isn't contact because it's plain and obvious to see, right? But what for me confirms that it's not a penalty is the fact that there's like almost a double movement.
I got you. Yeah.
So
there is. That's a fact.
It's difficult to get away with any contact in the penalty area now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like.
Is it Albrighton?
Yeah.
Yeah, Albrighton. Yeah.
If he just goes down right away, I feel that there's not really any case at all to state no penalty.
Yeah.
It's the fact that he gets clipped and then he carries on moving.
There's that slight
he takes a couple of steps,
yeah.
and then he goes for it. But Danny Murphy, right, at Match of the Day, he's an obvious Liverpool fan, and he doesn't think it's a penalty.
Bro, I kind of just thought the initial contact, I can see why the ref give it, but then the other question, because I wanted to ask you as well, is does a stronger referee not give that penalty?
Yeah, I don't think he does, because it's almost like Mane's about to be honest. He feels the clip, but he realizes he's still in control of the ball and can still make something happen, but then kind of changes his mind and he just goes down. And it's like a second movement, but it's still all connected to the original contact. He just goes down, and I remember watching just thinking, no, don't, and he gives the penalty.
It was very naive from Albrighton. That's what it was.
That's true.
He didn't need to go near him. From what I remember, at least from seeing it, Mane was surrounded by at least one other player. So I don't think he would have gone anywhere. But you're in, was it the 92nd, 93rd minute? And Albrighton, he basically shit himself and was like, Christ, I need to do something here to prevent this.
Especially against your Manes, your Salahs, players like that, right? I don't mean to just name Liverpool players, City players, like Aguero, Bernardo Silva, players like that, right? Tricky players who have got quicker feet than you have in the box in the last minute. You just don't put your foot in. You just stand them up, and you got numbers. And
wise words.
Yeah, you just don't do that. It's easy for people like me and you to say we're not professional footballers. We're quite the opposite.
Great shit talkers, though.
Yeah, great shit talkers. We haven't been in that scenario, but from seeing it, you're a professional athlete. Keep your head. That's what you get paid to do.
Yeah, and he didn't.
You didn't know.
Yeah, you didn't know.
So unlucky Leicester. We knew they would give them a tough game, but if you look at it from a statistical perspective, they didn't do enough to win the game or really get a draw either.
They're a great side though. Me and a few other lads were talking about this the other day. Brendan Rodgers, I mean, he could realistically go on to a bigger club, I think. He really could.
Strengthen his credentials now.
Bro, his CV, right, is not a bad one. I mean, he did very well with Swansea. He went to Liverpool, almost took them to the title. And a lot of people will say the word almost, right? But,
Came close on a lot of people.
He did, and they played a very good brand of football. And he developed Raheem Sterling quite well. I believe Sterling might have moved to City under him, which, showcases the fact that he's produced a world-class talent. And you look at him at Celtic, all right, the Scottish League is no great shakes, right? But he can only beat what's in front of you. And he did very well.
And people forget some of the football they played when Sturridge, Sterling and Suarez were at their peak.
It's good football.
Was just as good as some of it you see now.
Yeah.
Some of that football. Don't forget that. Yes, the defence was shocking, and they had a very poor goalkeeper, and the side is what it is now, right? But that front three were dynamite. They were unstoppable.
Yeah, they're incredible
that season, right?
Coutinho behind them as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Magic.
Leicester, they fall short. As you know, I'm pretty anti-Liverpool. But
no way, shut up. Are you? Yeah. No one's ever told me that before.
I don't want them to do well, but they were the better side.
Yeah, look, you can't argue that.
3 points.
Shout out to Madison as well, bro. I'm begging you. If you I don't know if you watch this anymore because I know you're busy. You used to, but please come to United. We fucking need something.
I can't give you a reason why, but
I just know it'll work out in the end.
We'll pay you well.
I think he'd be great under Pochettino next season. I'm saving it for next week. I'm not saying anything else. It's fine. Okay, we'll move on. All right, so Liverpool, everything is aligned. The stars are aligned. Looks like they're going to win the league. Very quick segue into City. Now, Adama Traore on the break. He is a roadrunner. He is the roadrunner, the cartoon version. But how does someone with such a fat ass run so quick?
He's built like a fridge.
Yeah.
And he's rapid.
Bro, he is rapid. And he's got that sort of... He does... I think he was in... Is it Lamazia or Lamazia? I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. The Barca Academy. So technically, he is very gifted as well. He's not a bad player. It's just, I think, when he starts games, he kind of he drifts in and out. But if you play him on the counter late, bro, geez Louise.
Like an NFL running back.
Bro, two great finishes, right? And like you said, once he gets going, he's difficult to stop. We talked about the City defence. I'm not going to go into it again because you can go back to previous episodes to look. Otamendi did not cover himself in glory. And that's me being mild.
You look, the problem for them is, I talk about United and their injuries, obviously you can't foresee that. You look at City, it's the defence that they finished against Brighton last season when they won the title.
Yeah.
They had Company, they had Stones, they had Laporte. All three of those are gone. Those are three big players, more so Laporte and Company.
Stones is injured, so to speak, yeah.
Yeah, but in some way, shape or form, they're not there at the moment, right? Company, big miss. Laporte,
Laporte's a huge miss, bro.
He's an extremely gifted centre-half.
Best after Van Dijk.
After Van Dijk, right? Which is huge praise. And then John Stones, who's got potential. He's got a good game in him, a bad game in him, right? But whether you like it or not,
John Stones, sorry to cut you off, bro. He's just a slim Phil Jones. That's all he is. That's all he is. Right?
There's no difference. Short of options. And there's only, you can get away with Otamendi and maybe Fernandinho as a makeshift centre-half against some sides. But sides with quality, they're going to find you out, especially if you don't have an on-day going forward like City usually do. And that's exactly what happened. The
spine of that City team, because I wanted to ask you as well, do you think they peaked? Because we had Spurs peaked. Football goes in cycles, teams move in cycles. There's no Company. David Silva's leaving the end of the season. Aguero's probably got a season or two left most, but I mean Aguero's
still doing it.
He's still doing it, right? But then who's the other one I wanted to mention? Fernandinho as well.
I think Bernardo Silva takes over that mantle from David Silva. You got De Bruyne as well.
Can you keep De Bruyne fit though?
Well, it is difficult, but like I say, Bernardo Silva, Mahrez, right? I see Bernardo Silva more like a David Silva than De Bruyne does, right? Fernandinho, they've obviously bought Rodri. It's too early to say just yet.
He's not a bad player, but
defensively though, they obviously got Laporte, right? So I feel like there's still a lot of quality in that spine, but there's a lot of it that's out injured. It's missing. So the spine, as it looks at the moment, that's up for debate.
I think there's key figures in that dressing room that have peaked, and those key figures in that dressing room. Essentially, the key figures in that dressing room are the characters that push City forward. They miss Company's character badly. Sergio Aguero in a year or two, he's like it or not, that's not the Aguero from 5 years ago. He is on a downward trail.
It's not quite your Company, Yaya Toure, David Silva, Aguero, is it?
No, it's not. And City have lost a lot of characters. And I'm looking at them and I'm thinking to myself, you spent almost $1 billion, and all right, yeah, you're bumming Watford 8-0, but I mean, when it's coming down to the crunch, they're not doing it. And understand this, and again, we won't go into it in too much depth because we can save it for another time. Pep Guardiola was not he wasn't brought there to win Premier League titles. They won titles under Mancini. They won titles under, I believe, Pellegrini as well. He was not brought there. They give him $1 billion and they said, "Go and make us the kings of the world." He hasn't done it.
No. It's a big statement. It's a true statement. I'm going to end on another big statement.
Do it.
They'll still win the league.
Yeah. Okay, I'm with that.
City will win the league.
I'm going, do you know what? I'm not saying nothing, because I flip-flop like fuck on this every other week.
You know me, yeah.
You're very consistent.
I aim my darts, and where it lands is where I stick, right?
I don't do that.
I ain't jumping on the bandwagon. I didn't jump on it last season when they were 8 points clear at Christmas. I ain't jumping on it again.
It'll be interesting though. And for the neutral, yes, who has we do have an interest in the race, but we don't have a team in the race. It is interesting, but
yeah. And if you Liverpool fans if Liverpool do this again, up there, it goes big time.
That might never. They may never do it. Like I said, they've got a 2 or 3 year period now where if they don't win a title under Klopp, I don't think they'll ever do it.
No,
I don't think they ever will. But yeah, I just wanted to ask you about City very quickly because they were unlucky. I mean, Silva hit the bar on another day, right? They could have gone on and won, but I do look at that side and I see more deficiencies in it than I did last season. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense.
But that's just my take on City. I think again, they're not going to lose any sleep over certain games this season. They're going to be all right. But whether they win the major trophies, I don't know, bro. Touch and go.
It depends on defensive issues as well, doesn't it?
Hugely. Okay, cool. Right, so City done, Liverpool done. there's certain games I'm just not going to give a shout out, like the Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah,
My bad, Sheffield United game.
that.
Definitely not shouting out Sheffield Wednesday.
Good point for both. That's about all.
I was so bored watching it. I might have watched Sheffield Wednesday. It was fucking crap. It wasn't great. But the big shout out I want to give to, right, was Villa. Alex, you just brought up on your screen there. Villa absolutely pummeled Norwich. Bear in mind, this is a Norwich side that have been in form, been a very, very good side. They've acquitted themselves quite well thus far. I gotta say, Jack Grealish, right, bro, he plays with the low socks. I'm not necessarily a fan of the style, but to play with the low socks, you gotta be a baller. In the number 10 position, like a Rui Costa almost back in the day for Milan, right? The exact sort of same thing. Jack Grealish bossed that game. It's like, you had the guy back in the day that used to wear pink boots.
Yeah.
And this was before pink was sort of like very gender neutral and you could actually wear it, because men wore black boots back in the day, and if you wore white boots, you were a bit of a fairy. But
total 90s
yeah,
on the Adidas.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but Jack Grealish, it takes a big man to come out looking like that on the pitch. You got to have a set of cojones on you. You got to be like, I know what I'm doing. Fully backed it up. Very impressive performance. And Wesley as well. I mean, if you're only going to call yourself by one name, Wesley, again, you got to back that up.
Yeah.
You miss like Cher and Jesus. You have to back it up. And Fergie.
Moses.
Do you know what I mean? You got to back that up. And again, bro, he should have had a hat-trick, right? How he missed the penalty, I don't know.
Some great goals in that game, mind.
I think was it Douglas Luiz, the last one?
Yeah.
Oh, pick that out, son. Fucking hell, that was a finish.
According to Sky, his name is Douglas Suarez de Paulo.
Ah, yeah. We know him as Dougie, though, so
Dougie,
so it's fine.
Doug, that's how...
Dougie Fresh, bro.
When he speaks just of these channels, that's how we refer to him, So
Dougie
they were fantastic, Villa. They created so many chances. It could have been a cricket score.
Yeah.
Jack Grealish, yes, very, very good player. I do think he needs to score more goals, though.
Do you know what, though? I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, only because he's relatively new to this level and he'll need a little bit of time to adapt.
Every time they reveal a stat, though, right, they say, like, this is the first time Jack Grealish has scored since when he played in 2015, do you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
He's been in this league such a long time ago, and he has played... People, who maybe haven't seen him play before, maybe a little bit younger, maybe don't remember him being in the Premier League 3 or 4 seasons ago. So, yes, you will give him time and a bit more, and you'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but I do think for him to be really put in an elevated bracket of top quality, he needs to add a few more goals to his game.
I'd 100% agree with that. I think we'll give him this season. If Villa stay up, judge him after that, and he's either going to be hit or miss.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping he's going to be hit. I like the guy, especially after everything that happened with his brother and the Birmingham fan. Yeah. I'm kind of rooting for him to do well now, especially just because of that.
Nothing against him at all. He
seems like a really nice fucking guy as well. So
good ability, and sometimes he does take the games by the scruff of the neck.
Yeah.
You just need a few more goals for me.
Yeah. Do it consistently and wear what you want, bro, to be honest with you. Yeah. But as we said, Watford, Sheffield United, we won't go into that, 0-0. Nothing really to talk about. Burnley beating Everton 1-0. Again, shout out to Burnley, great home win for them. Everton, we can't keep... how many other ways can you say inconsistent? I only speak one language. I can't keep doing it, bro. What do you say? It's a talking point, but we talk about it every fucking week. Everton are very like Bournemouth in that respect. You just don't know which one you're going to get, and you've invested a lot of money, and there's too much inconsistency for my liking for that type of money.
Marcus Silva spent £200 million and they sit one above the relegation zone.
Bro,
not good reading.
And Everton are a big club as well. They're
Massive
a big
club.
Fucking club. That's unacceptable. Arsenal beat Bournemouth. Not a lot to talk about. Relatively routine, right? I didn't expect anything different. We've been over the rest. But I do want to mention this Crystal Palace game again, just going back to VAR.
Yeah.
I watched this. I was out with my cousin. We went out for a few beers. And we were watching it in a pub. And when the goal went in, I remember thinking, that's offside. That is 100% offside. Bro, what happened next blew my fucking mind. It was like a question on a maths GCSE paper, right? You had somebody drawing a line up here, there was a parallel line there to a parallel line there, there was angles coming in, there was different coloured lines. Bro, they were zooming in on shit. That is not streamlined at all. How on earth? Who was drawing that line in the truck? Bro, it was like this. It's just someone was etching a line on the fucking screen. And I was like, there is barely a difference.
I don't like it because...
I didn't like any of it. Oh, it overly complicated it.
It's almost like it's still down to perception.
And perception is subjective, as we've seen.
Like, it's not as... It's not being treated the same as goal line technology.
There has to be some leeway with this now.
But nor do I think it should be either, because it's a different scenario. You know, when you've got the way players are making runs in the last moment, and you know, just they've you know, they always said that the attacker has the advantage. Yeah, always used to have the advantage, and I always like that view on it.
I am 100% in agreement with you
it's
on
like
that.
If you're the attacker and you're anticipating and you're making that last minute run, to the eye of the linesman, right? Like, they're judging that, and if that, it's like, you know, when they look back on, you know, years gone by, you look back on the replay and it's got like a hair's length or like an outside of a boot, they would always say that's fine, right? But now that's not fine anymore.
Do you know what, bro? I'm going to say it now. 2 things. 1, you have to give the attacker some leeway, and B, just fucking stop. Just please, just like get football people in. I don't know if there are football people in those trucks, right? Or if they're admin guys or accounts guys or analyst guys. Get football people in who really understand the game.
It's the ruling though, isn't it? Because if their system is telling them that he's 0.01 millimeters his boot or his head is offside.
But this is what I mean. You have to give him some leeway, right? I don't care about 0.0001 millimeters. I don't give a fuck. People go there to watch goals. They want something to go home and talk about. Fuck, we want some talking points other than a guy in a truck, right? Like, just give them a little bit of leeway. Say, look, this is the rule. Is it within 3 millimeters? Okay, cool. Is it within 5 millimeters? Okay, cool. We're going to give the advantage to the attacker.
It has to be something, because it's just not going to be sustainable like this.
It's not. I totally agree. But anyway, that's us done. Player of the weekend, I'm going with Adama Traore. Your take?
I am going to go with, is it Connolly for Brighton? Was it Connolly?
Oh, yes, Connolly, yeah.
Connolly.
Scored twice, I believe, is that right?
First Irish teenager to score a brace since 1999.
My fucking brother. My cousin Connolly. Get in there, son.
I have one question for you.
Ooh, yes.
Head out. Who, out of the following managers I list, do you think will be the first to be sacked?
Solskjaer.
You got Solskjaer?
Solskjaer.
Marco Silva,
Solskjaer.
Pochettino,
Solskjaer.
or Steve Bruce?
Absolutely Solskjaer. The Glazer family are so trigger happy, right? And I shout out to Richie Warwick, so speaking to him on Twitter as well. Rich was like, Man United aren't a sacking club. Man United have been a sacking club. Van Gaal won the FA Cup, they got rid of him. Mourinho won the Europa League, they didn't give a fuck, that didn't mean nothing.
I think they'll give him the season though.
No.
For me,
I promise you, when that pressure piles up, he's gone.
So you're saying Solskjaer, I'm going to say Marco Silva.
Okay, cool. Again, people at home, let us know. Give us your opinions. But we signing out. Till next time. We're back next week for the Man United special. And there's 2 sets of people. People who love Man United, people who hate Man United. You're both going to want to be here for this, because it's going to be fireworks. I promise you that. We are going in 100%. But I've been Ruairi Spooner. This has been James Veck. V&V Podcast. Add us all up. Signing out. Take care, people. Ciao.